Yeah, MDL Grand Finals coverage presented by Beyond the Summit. That's Gods, that's Jack. I'm Dakota, and we have our Game 4 draft underway. LFY managed to do it, gentlemen. They pulled together the win. Or was it more... Did LFY do it, or did LGD lose to themselves?
Or was there an edict from above?
An edict from above. Another creature.
You meant from the heavens or above in the organization?
In the office above, seriously looking out that
What's the difference?
classic plain glass, just, you better lose. Nah, I'm just kidding. This is all fictional, of course.
Yeah.
All in good fun, but I'm happy. No one likes a grand final that's 3-0. That's no fun. Adjustments are being made. LFY ended up going kind of all in with the heavy push strat there, having the Pugna kicker near the end, and it did work out for them. Let's see what they put together here for our next draft. And the priority as far as AFU heroes, curious if they'll warrant a early ban or if they're just going to let LFY continue to give him what he wants.
On the other side, it's the Yao heroes. That's some... Not often you see people banning out the 5-position play, but that's some serious hate.
I think they were a little bit wary of what he was able to do last game because he was able to... I mean, this hero, again, like as a support, push out lanes, take objectives. Very few supports offer that. And then he doesn't have to commit to take down towers either as a support, like unlike, say, a Leshrac or a Pugna where you have to be there, physically be there to destroy the tower. The Shadow Shaman doesn't really need to do that. So I think that was like something that annoyed them last game that they had some trouble dealing with, and it really hurt them early on when they wanted to deathball, and they would lose a tower in exchange because Yao could just go over there and just plant his wards. So that might be something they want to get rid of. And then we saw the Night Stalker last game, like AFU with an exceptional performance on this hero. I have to say after that that's probably the best Night Stalker play that I've seen. You know, I can recall seeing. So reliable, always first pick for them. And Kunkka getting through this time is going to get scooped up by LGD.
I was wondering if the Night Stalker would even get banned, but they prioritized the puck over it. Didn't seem like the DK ban has been essential. Not saying that's been necessarily first to pick. LFY, with that said, if they want the DK, probably have to pick it now or see it get banned in that second stage. So yeah, they'll grab it up. But the nice thing about the DK pick is you know that maybe he's likely going to have at least a slightly favorable matchup. DK typically holds his own in all matchups just by spamming Breathe Fire and being tanky, but a player like maybe is probably happy to go against a DK expecting to have an easy time and not get pressured at all.
We got to see Ame earlier this series play the Faceless Void, but I think you guys were mentioning during that draft that they have flexibility with this hero as far as where they can lane it, where they can put it, so the versatility's there. I wonder if Yao, without having options now like the AA to be able to combo with the Faceless Void, you know, does he Skywrath Mage, Witch Doctor? Have we seen him play any of those kind of options, or do you not really put so much attention on working around the Chronosphere like that?
I think Skywrath they picked earlier. I think Witch Doctor maybe more of an SCA thing.
The other here is the Phoenix.
The Phoenix as well. Yeah. Those are real possibilities for LFY. They did pick Oracle earlier in this series, and again, like kind of the save against the Chronosphere, the Kunkka as well, and I think it's another possible option for them.
Yeah. I mean, even DK's Dragon's Blood regen is doubled up from a False Promise. It's just got fun little bits of synergy like that. Always enjoy seeing Oracle, so I wouldn't mind that.
I think we've seen LGD at their strongest with regards to their safe lane is when they've got like a 2-hero combo that can kill, and I think Phoenix doesn't give you the best killing power. That may be where LFY are like, they may ban out the Phoenix because it is a good 5 with the Void, but Inflame's going to have a much better time against the Phoenix support than the AA, the Shaman, even some of those other, like Witch Doctor I think is actually really good because he's a good zoning and killing support, same for a Disruptor. These are the supports where Inflame has struggled to come online early because he's just been zoned out of the lane and bullied a lot.
Well, we don't see these teams pick up, you were mentioning, like the Witch Doctor or even that Disruptor very often. That's so funny. Coming from the qualifiers where Disruptor seemed very highly touted as a good support pickup. I don't think I've seen like any Disruptor at all in MDL, at least for the games we've been watching.
The Silencer ban maybe hints at one of those heroes being picked up here in conjunction with the Void a little bit. You don't want to be able to cancel the follow-up, obviously, to the Chronosphere, so interesting choice.
But you know, Phoenix hates Silencer, Skywrath would hate Silencer. I mean, Void obviously hates Silencer too, so yeah.
Ban Bloodseeker, that's a curious little ban. Something Monet has pulled out before, but something that hasn't been of any focus in this series. Perhaps suggesting some kind of like Sven type pickup for the safe lane. Sven Void has been a go-to combo in the past, but there we go. There's the Phoenix ban. So the 3 Yao heroes all banned out that he's played the most, but plenty of other good options that he will be put upon as a result of this.
I wonder if they still go with the Earthshaker here as an offlaner. No, there's the Witch Doctor.
Right, nice.
I think they may want to just pick their mid first, because then they can leave open their final pick and be flexible whether it's carry or offlane. We saw that in one of the earlier games, game 2 I think it was, where they had the Void and then they don't reveal whether it's safe lane or carry yet. If they pick their carry, they're revealing it's a Void offlane, or if they pick an offlaner, they're revealing the Void going carry. The flexibility for the Void is kind of nice to leave up until that last pick, when you can see the full draft of LFY.
Dazzle coming out. This is someone, obviously, who could bail out someone caught under the Chronosphere or in the bad end of a Maldic combo. Has a bit of physical options for Roche on their side now. Yep. He gets the medallion, so...
We're not seeing any of these dual offlanes so much. It's always been these 4 positions, prioritizing harass on the mid lane mostly, so... As a result of that, these 5-position strong zoning supports are that much more valuable, because a Dazzle can zone out almost any offlaner by himself. Same for Witch Doctor, does pretty well at the same time. So against dual lanes, maybe a Dazzle Witch Doctor can have a rougher time, but when you know it's going to be this solo offlane, potentially a Void, Dazzle's a great hero to have there.
Ooh, all right, there she is.
So Dusa just going to have a good farming time mid lane against the Dragon Knight, and a hero that doesn't care so much about stuff like the Night Stalker and the silences and all that.
This is a really interesting pick. The last time we saw this Medusa picked up by LGD, I believe Ame went mostly, I think he went Orchid, Hex, just like mostly like mana items, and then he went the Aghanims for the Stone Form. And there's a tremendous amount of synergy there. Obviously with the Witch Doctor, physical damage bounces from his ultimate, obviously from the Faceless Void and Chronosphere. If he goes for that kind of build again, where it's like it's a super tanky Medusa, the damage and control that it offers is very rare for that position, instead of building into more traditional, like having that kind of attack damage from Medusa. I think there's a tremendous amount of potential there. And this is also a hero that they pick, looking at the supports of LFY, they're not really worried too much, except for the early lane phase, about this hero being ganked. Those supports don't offer a lot of offensive potential beyond the first few levels once she has the mana shield up. Same with the DK, because he's got the short range stun, but he doesn't really have a lot of consistent burst early on, not like a Lina or like a Queen of Pain, something like that. So it's going to be very difficult to kill the Medusa, and then the synergy that they have later on, if this is run either by Ame and he chooses to go for that build, it's going to be very potent for them.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned last time it was Ame playing him, because I kind of mentioned that it was going to be a mid Medusa, but it's actually, could be a safe lane Medusa, could be mid. Their draft has plenty of options with both Medusa and Void, so their last pick could go for any of the 3 lanes at this point, and we'll have to find out what that might be.
Yeah, first I wager go for LFY's off lane pickup, so you can kind of hold on to maybe that mid lane. But
yeah, what do they want to get? And this is like a hero they're worried about getting banned out. They might pick it now, like for their carry. But yeah, they get the bat. Initiation, positioning here. Also something they may be looking to contest the lanes a bit more now. You see this Medusa Void, you're thinking they're going a bit greedy, a bit more farm intensive. Let's try and go at them earlier on. Their last pick for LFY, they've got a building hitter in the Dragon Knight, but I think I'd like to see them get a second one, like a Terror Blade could be really good. Manta Diffusal, burn through that Medusa's mana pool. You can kind of Mystic Snake and Stone Gaze down the illusions, but it still feels like the kind of hero you want to have against this lineup of LGD, where you just want to 5-man push towers and have a hero that can sit back and push out and dish out damage when someone gets lassoed or stunned by the Dragon Knight. Also, the Slack is something that Monet's played a lot, which could be very good against the tanky Medusa. Wonder if that's a consideration.
I could see a Slark or even possibly an Anti-Mage being banned out here.
Yeah, the AM versus Medusa, yeah, kind of a classic. But something, they can kind of get away with right now. I mean, the Void has a Chronosphere, but there's not like really the damage to kill him. Okay, they're going to ban the TB. I think that would have been like the dream hero to have for them. Not sure what. Yeah, the Slark, the AM. No other really good like range DPS carries to hit buildings with at this point. Luna's a bit closer range, and I don't really favor the Luna so much against the Medusa.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and how much do you want to value that it's someone who can be a diffusal candidate, I guess, and can just help go toe-to-toe with the Medusa? I mean, they did troll who got diffusal earlier. Oh, or matching that kind of late game farm.
Greed. Yeah, that's seems to be the philosophy with this Morphling pick. I mean, you could go a Manta Diffusal type build on him, but this is more likely going to be a more standard Morphling build and play. I mean, I guess late game you ideally at some point get a Manta and all that. Oh, Drow, this is a great Drow pick. Suddenly this seemingly team fight late game LGD draft is actually not so much a late game draft. They can actually go early game. They can push towers. Medusa can fight. Like if you go like an early game like Dragonlance, Blade Mail build, you can push towers very early. Medusa isn't just a late game carry. With the Drow Aura, she actually comes online very early. That
even the Yao Witch Doctor's zoning support is going to be super annoying with the benefit of that Aura too. Lots of extra damage.
Well,
on top of the Maldix that could be happening early game. Oh boy. So LFY are just going to try to, what would you think, Jack? Put up their defensive barriers and try to withstand the potential early power peak, if you will, of LGD, and hope that they could take this into the later game with their Morphling?
We've been seeing them run a lot of aggro try, but I think the last 2 or 3 games they've done that, and I'm not sure if they'll do that again this game, but that could present problems for the Drow. But they don't have the best matchups in the other lanes either. Like I think Medusa is not really worried about laning up against DK, and I think it'd be a farming trade if they end up with that safe lane if it's Morphling against Void, or it could even get a bit difficult for the Morphling. So I'm not sure how the other lane option is going to look this game.
I
feel like for the 4th game in a row, we're seeing LGD just outdraft LFY. Game 3 maybe less of an outdraft, but it still felt like definitely an outdraft that LFY managed to outplay them. They're going to need to do so again because this Drow Medusa does not really have a good response in LFY's draft. The damage output, like Dragonite, Morphling takes a ton of items before he has damage output. I don't know how they're going to actually be able to kill the Medusa. They haven't got good heroes to really jump the Drow Ranger with. So there is, to me, serious concerns for LFY this game, unless they can maybe run over the lanes. I think the laning stage is where LFY have to really come out guns blazing.
Yeah, Morph generally, even when the items first come online, is really good for his burst damage initially, and you don't really burst down a Medusa for the most part. So it's, yeah, like you said, it's going to be difficult handling that Medusa. And then she doesn't have to build. She can totally go for the Ame build and just itemize a bit more. You have a higher mana pool. You're very difficult to kill. And then again, if you get the Aghanims with the Mystic Stake, it combos very well with the Drow as well, who hits very hard, and in the Stone form. So a lot of options here. I feel like there's a lot less pressure on LGD this game, and I feel like LFY really has to get things done and have like an explosive laning phase. Otherwise, they're gonna have a lot of trouble going forward.
We'll see bounty runes being claimed. No one going aggressive on either side. The early game plays. We'll see a fairly passive laning stage out of the cores. I mean, that's the thing with LGD. As much as it feels like their draft is good, they don't have the most aggressive lanes or kills really available to them. Victoria on the Kunkka is going to be moving around, but not like you can set up kills from Medusa. Perhaps the Drow Witch Doctor, there's some kill potential, but it is somewhat limited. A bit more present maybe for LFY's side. The Night Stalker teaming up with the Bat. This is the lane where they are saying, okay, this Drow is a big problem. Afu's picked up a poor man's shield. He wants to mess with this Drow as early on as possible.
Let's see how much messing around they can do here. Afu quickly turning his reputation into being a real Dota bully. And here again, the Night Stalker looking to do a bit of the same already here. He's going to have to put his attention that way, while Inflame, Big Boss Man, will be able to get that kind of head start he would like to have in the lane. You know, Inflame was under a lot of pressure yesterday and was handing over a lot of kills in his laning phase, but I gotta say he's been behaving okay today, for the most part.
Is the right call. Send the Kunkka bottom. This is the trouble lane for LGD. Do a full-on tri lane. Even if you can't find kills here, just make sure the Bat Night Stalker aren't able to do too much damage. And Victoria is going to look for a torrent. A landed torrent could lead to a kill, but is going to miss the first one.
The threat is there, though. Torrent's not too much mana at all, and with the clarity in hand, you can expect a lot more of those to continue to fly out.
Yep.
And Medusa 8 and 0, Super 6 now. You know, they're clawing it back together. Things might get a little bit easier for Super as the levels do kick in a bit. But even with Dragon's Blood and such, Mystic Snake, does that continue to always be a bit of a nuisance through the laning phase?
Yeah, the fact you have your mana pool burn really hurts Dragon Knight, since he does rely on the Breathe Fire to often last hit against these ranged heroes, so it will be an annoying lane. We are seeing the Drow kind of struggle to get too much CS right now. And he just has 6 CS, less than the Bat Rider even. This is, even with the 3 heroes down here, just an issue.
Looks like Medusa will be able to snag up the Arcane Rune for herself and take it back to the lane. How's our boy 11 doing up here at the moment? Eating a Poison Touch. Only been able to scrape 2 CS, but he is under a lot of threat. It's bottom lane where we see the first blood. Grab onto Inflame, and it doesn't stop there. Afu also going to be going down, I imagine, set up with that torrent that Victoria was shooting for.
Yeah, you had the X initiation to go with it too, so don't have to land these blind torrents from Fog when you've got the X, waits for level 2, finds the kill, and a great start for LGD. Not to mention 11 escaping a gank at top lane with his Time Walk away, so everything looking overall decent for LGD in the lane stage. Even though Drow hasn't got a huge amount of CS right now, that can very quickly change with those kills being picked up.
I'm curious if Afu returns back to the lane. They tried to shoot out the torrent there and get a hold of the Bat Rider, but we're coming up a bit short. He's a fresh level 2, and it's just under a minute before that first Nightfall, so it looks like he will stick with it in this lane for now.
Perhaps going too aggressive. The X torrent is going to go out onto him. Not going to waste his mana, but issue is now that these supports have Magic 6 on the Radiant side, they're always going to have mana to use spells. Kunkka's going to have unlimited mana to throw out torrents, Witch Doctor's always going to have cast, Maledict. Level 3 with 2 points in Maledict could be a really strong point for LGD to go for additional kills. This bottom lane is going to get very tricky for the Bat. At the same time, you can't not throw out napalms. That's how you actually contest your lane.
Still able to kind of get some CS his way as he has a couple of creeps working for him under the tower, including that ranged creep. Edges him up to about 13 and 1, and you compare that to 11 here on the other side, now up to 9 and 1. So it looks like he has been able to at least get some CS his way. Bottom though, yeah. Victoria forced to dish out the X onto Super, who has that haste rune, but he is still getting chased down. Tries to do the self-torrent, but they will sidestep it, and he'll be dropped. LFY will get their first kill on the board.
Not bad. Fortunate to find the haste rune. Even without the haste rune, I think they likely get that kill. Kunkka just running into too many heroes trying to contest the runes in these early stages.
Unfortunately, no escapability there for little Kunkka, so if you get caught in an alley like that, you have very little to no options at all. Throws out the torrent here back on bottom lane, just continuing to be that bit of a threat. But Afu now, it's nighttime. It's actually almost a full minute into nighttime. Where should he go with his best interest here? I mean, you continue to hang around this bottom lane to help out the Bat, or I imagine you want to kind of, get some mileage going.
Yeah, it's not the easiest right now. He needs to head back to base, get some mana back. Because of the death and the lack of CS, he actually has just the brown boots. He doesn't have much to go with it, so he's kind of limited in options. Doesn't have that level 3 even, so no value point in the silence, or even a second point in Void could be really good. And your Bat Rider said, I'm out of this lane, I want to go jungle. So I don't think there's any easy, obvious lanes to gank other than perhaps the Void if you can get your level 3. We may see him pick up level 3 at bottom and then try like TP top, find a kill on Void. That could be the only real kill available to him. Waveform in, 11.
Blue time dilation, but it looks like he will be able to walk away from that one, thankfully for him. But he has no more regen. Yeah, he does have a shrine nearby. Yeah, mid lane, a move on for Super here. They caught him with a Maledict as there's a rotation in from the support staff of LGD. One more tick may do it. There it is. Yeah, we'll pick up the kill, and it's now 3-1 for LGD as they take down the DK.
Yeah, Void getting a lot of experience in the off lane, closing in on that level 6. Could see some early Chronospheres come into play. Drow, though, not having the best time bottom. This nighttime does pose a lot of danger for Drow, who wants to get level 6, but also does not want to go down in this bottom lane with supports moving mid. she does become fairly exposed, so has to wait for the supports to return to really move out.
Coming back, my lady. Victoria is there by her side, but might have just narrowly crossed paths with Afu. They'll ping it out, it would appear.
Yeah, they're trying to spot him warding, but don't do so. Afu sees them before they see him.
Oh, and Inflame is trying to run through the secret shop. Thankfully got that bit of intel and was able to make it away from what could have been some serious trouble.
Starting to see the disparity build in the mid matchup as well, as maybe's got off to a very good start, and he's not really afraid of these ganks from the supports, so he's going to be able to keep super down. He's going to be able to pressure and to probably take that tower at a fairly early time, and that makes LFY's job quite a bit harder. And then obviously the Mystic Snake, if super's up last hitting creeps in melee form, you can consider just bouncing it off creeps and taking that much more away from super. So it's a pretty tough lane situation again. Like, they've been very good at answering ganks too and rotating as a duo to find kills. They might get this.
They try to rotate in and get the hope on the Inflame, but it might be a bait pull in. They have DDC now rotating over, but look who's creeping in from behind. It's going to be Maybe. Steps in with the Mystic Snake as he tries to bat down the Bat Rider within the trees. Yao also caught inside, will be the first one to go down, and Inflame will be able to pop the wand and TB back home safely. Yao the only one to drop on this massive gank rotation to the bottom lane.
Yeah, maybe gets some damage onto his tower as punishment for leaving his mid lane against the Dragon Knight. Really great use of the Observer Ward there. LFY in the bottom lane have a very safe defensive ward, scouting any ganks coming in. The sentry missed it as LGD guessed wrong as to its location, and the end result is LFY able to just bait in.
Oh, 11! Fighting to the bitter end, gets the chrono off, but can't get the finish! So now he's in this awkward spot where he has to run away and wait for the cooldown of his time walk, and then TP away.
That was close-ish, as he wanted to chrono and kill the Morph before he was able to pop one charges, but didn't have the damage or attack speed. He's got no boots even, just a headdress, going for HP regen over everything else.
Miscalculated, unfortunately.
Yeah. And he's going to take, maybe even lose his tower because of it. Yeah, it looks like this top tier 1 is taking heavy damage.
He wants to contest and deny. They hit him with an adaptive and everything to make sure he can't even swing for it. Ultimately, we'll get the time walk off, and he sets himself away.
The pressure's been good. The Drow's level 5 still 9 minutes into the game, and that's mostly as a result of LFY just sending all these heroes down bottom. They haven't really allowed LGD to just safely farm the Drow, get the levels there, and also allows Medusa just to crush the mid lane with that Drow aura. Bottom lane looks like Yao being gone on by the bat. Is he going to commit for this dive?
3, 4 sticky stacks right now. Ame hit there with a couple himself. DDC steps in with the poison, but ultimately LFY will have to pull off.
Kind of hurts using that first chrono at top and not getting a kill, and then not going on cooldown means LFY know they can be much more aggressive elsewhere on the map.
They're trying to get the last hit on this tower, but they actually pop the glyph. Victoria is trying to throw his body away to go for the tower, but it will still go down. Did it get denied? Yes, it did. DDC picked it up. I hate how that message is in the middle while all the others are on the left. Throws me off.
Yeah. It didn't used to be, right? It got moved at some point.
Yeah. Regardless, you know, it's a support cost, and they lose the tower, unfortunately. So where does Maybe go now? His precious mid lane might not be as easy to farm it anymore.
Oh, way out this Bat Rider. Not an easy. He's got the Mystic Snake. Maybe get him if he tries to farm a jungle camp, but doesn't look like he's even going to do that. Wants to push bottom. It looks like both teams will have a similar idea with the Dragon Knight and the Medusa. Just kind of group up as 3 or 4, push your safe lane. Drow's got level 6, which means all that precision aura damage gets a decent boost, but it is just level 1 precision aura since he wanted the frost arrows for the tough lane.
Should help earn them another tower takedown. First one being denied. Will this one also get denied? Super steps in after that mild gank movement to the top lane. LFY already coming to attendance to defend this bottom lane. Torrent does find connection there, but no follow-up yet. Now look at this, 11 getting in on the action, waiting in those back lines with the chrono in his pocket. you know, just in case something breaks out here.
Again, the ward scouts out the rotation. This Dire Ward has gotten a lot of mileage as they know this Void is the bottom lane with the rest of the team. Afu is swooping all the way behind them. This could turn into a big 5-on-5 brawl. Problem is, Morphling is just not a hero that really wants to fight too much early on.
They got the X, the pullback, the Torrent. It's there on the bat. Afu begins to fly in from behind, and he's spotted out Little Drow Ranger. Super looking to move in, maybe trying to help out. Moves in with the Stone Gaze. Ame should be able to make it away in the back of a TP. Now it's going to be the Medusa retreating down and out. Yao also hits a TP. Are they all going to be able to make it out from this one? 11 might not be so lucky unless he wants to chrono, but even that with the TP cooldown. Oh, it's close. Time walk. Is he going to be good?
Yeah, he should be good. He's got another time walk
Super's
soon.
cutting him off. Takes the arcane.
Dodges
time
it.
walked
Okay.
again. Oh my god. They are going to be able to make it away. So they do lose one in the Kunkka.
Oh, yeah, the Kunkka. I guess his TP got cancelled there.
Yeah, not so lucky, but one Bat Rider off lane for one Kunkka. Oh, Yao, after receiving a package delivery, finds himself in the bad end of a gank. Turn around, Coconut? Can't do it. It's a little too much of a tight end chase right there.
Good aggressive play this early.
Or not Coconut, a giant Coconut, I guess. Chronosphere coming out from 11, trying to get a hold of Inflame. Inflame gonna possibly make it away. What is happening this game? So many making it away with so little. Maybe he's like, not this. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're gonna have to let it go, buddy. That salve.
Not bad. A decent sequence of events for LFY. The big thing for LGD with that full-on 5-man push down bottom is they didn't have their level 6s. Kunkka and Witch Doctor both level 5. They don't have any damage to really dump in a chrono, at least not enough damage to dump in a chrono that if they full HP DK gets chronoed, he's going to live. He's not going to die to Drow and Medusa right-clicks and a Mystic Snake. They really need the Ghost Ship plus a Torrent plus a potential Death Ward to actually kill a tanky hero like a Dragonite in a chrono. Even the Bat Rider with this drums build, 1200 HP is quite hard to bring down, so I think LGD maybe just forced things a bit too far, going for the tier 2 tower as well as the tier 1. They should have probably backed after the tier 1, given the fact they have only level 5 supports.
LGD looking to take the final tier 1 on the side of LFY. As that happens, they start sending some troops down to the bottom lane. Victoria first, of course, so he can get that X-Torrent combo with the boat coming in. 11 also shows up. He goes for the TP, and he's gone, and just like that, gods, they don't have the damage. They can't finish anything.
Oh.
You don't get dessert unless you clean your plate.
They're very close there. They probably needed like a Witch Doctor who doesn't have his ult yet right now at 14 minutes to add a little bit of extra oomph there. So LFY's done a good job just kind of cramping the space and kind of, you know, forcing these fights a little bit. LGD just always seem like a little bit short, but I don't think the pressure is not really on them.
Jesus, Afu's Night Stalker is straight out of a horror movie, the way he shows up in some of these fights. He just creeps in through the trees and maybe is in critical condition, has to tag the shrine, and LGD tried to attempt a little bit of a fight back, but you know, good attempt again from LFY. They continue to pressure, just like Jack was talking about.
Yeah, it felt like LGD, their supports just not hitting level 6 at the right time. This game is really kind of being costly. 15 minutes in, still no level 6 on Witch Doctor. This Treads, Drums, DK build, I mean, it's kind of the go-to build with plus 10 strength at level 10 as well. He's got 1,700 hit points to chew through. Very tricky to do. Witch Doctor opting for the Cask over the Maledict as well.
Nice setup here. Leading in from the Super Invis rune. He's able to get the Dragon Tail, which leads to the Silence and leads to the pickoff. 6-4 now for LFY. Afu continues to go on the gank train. He's got a medallion now, all set up.
We'll see how LGD look to fight back now. They're just about to hit most of their key levels. Yao's level 6 still not quite there, but with just like the Yashas coming online for the Medusa as well as the Drow, they get a lot of extra right-click damage out of this. And they will be ready to team fight with Chrono back online. It was on cooldown for that last attempted kill in the mid lane. LFY still kind of hanging around a bit on LGD turf, but now we'll
take their leave. We'll see if LGD are indeed going to try to get moving forward on any sort of scramble here. Very confident, maybe just strutting his stuff down this mid lane. God, that Mystic Snake really bites you. But okay, super. Here he comes. He's got a haste rune. Dragon Tail onto maybe, but he does not want to get locked down from a Chrono team fight here by LGD.
Yep. 4-man unit moving together while the Drow kind of goes off alone, gets some farm, gets some levels. And it is LFY being forced to react for once. It feels like LFY being able to control the tempo for the most part. Pushing towers, pushing lanes, and LGD need to kind of take things a bit more into their own hands. But problem is, this DK has money for a blink if he wants to go for it. Maybe the item of choice. Doesn't actually get into the smoke with his team. Perhaps slightly out of range here, but he can actually just push out this mid lane.
Oh, maybe running in, has to pop the Stone Gaze there. Otherwise, the Bat might have been able to get the lockdown with that lasso.
Yeah, he doesn't have time to even check Bat's items. The second he sees that smoke pop on Bat, he's like, oh crap, he might blink lasso me, I just got an ulti. And yeah, Stone Gaze for a smoke gank, that's definitely worth the use. Stone Gaze actually has a fairly short cooldown as far as ultis go.
What is the item? It's a blink onto super, so he did grab it.
Yep, I dig it. You want to play fast paced, Drow Medusa, you want to look for kills now before they get any more additional items. They're pretty weak just with these squishy Yashes, and Drow's always a hero you just want to jump on top of.
Yeah, they've got some vision open. They really need to make plays off that. It feels like otherwise the window's going to be closing. Drow's going for Sanjin Yash here. I feel like, you know, if they go for pikes, like once that's up, it's going to be even harder to kill them, and they can just reposition at will. And it's, I think it's already kind of an uphill battle for LFY, even though they have the gold advantage. In order to secure this game, they're going to need to do a heck of a lot more than that.
Afu continues to run around and try to stalk some setups onto the Drow, but she will avoid the trouble there and make it safely into daytime for now. As she tries to finish on towards that SMY, just constantly bulking up the deeps as best as can. But now that it's daytime here, I'm curious to see if we're going to see some Chrono Death Ward action, man. I'm waiting. We're almost level 7 now on Yao. But I don't know how easy these setups are going to be.
Yeah, LGD seem happy just to play the slow-paced game. Problem is they've got all the fairly physical damage-based draft, and you're up against DK with Dragonblood and Morphling with all his agi. He's sitting on 20 armor. These are not easy heroes to kill, even inside a Chronosphere. And heroes like Medusa and Drow do need a bit of levels and farm before they can dish out some damage.
You got the Dazzle armor as well, which helps even more with that.
Does feel like a game where LFY are happy just to play aggressive around the nighttime, farm during the day. They've used their vision very well and effectively. Even though they got this DK blink, they still don't immediately transition any kind of big smoke gank, knowing that it is daytime and they really want that night. I think with the night approaching in 30 seconds, the darkness also available, this is probably going to be go time for them very soon. Batrider's also just got his blink, so they are TPing to the shrine. This looks to be a smoke play or some kind of aggressive maneuver coming out of LFY.
Darkness is going to get called out. DDC is the man with the purple stuff. Yep. They'll first make sure there's no ward in the area, and then they roll out.
Oh, both teams smoked. LGD, same thing, right in the mid lane. Will they?
Oh, maybe is going to possibly be a big bait here. Shows himself in the lane. Do LFY go for it? They're going to round the corner. It's first going to be Afu, spotting out Victoria. Now the jump back in. 11 looks to hammer him down. The Stone Gaze from behind. Nice grave comes in from DDC to be able to bail him out, and now they go in for Super instead, hitting him with the Torrent combo and the boat. Monet, though, looks to focus onto Yao as he gets the Death Ward out. They will be able to finish him off. Super also going to be going down under that Chrono. And now it's going to be Ame targeting onto Monet. He tries to jump and he gets it. Away and out. A TP will also be there, and he's going to make it safely.
It was some really good decision making in the moment there from LGD. Not committing the Chrono to the first hero they saw, just killing the Night Stalker using the Maledict. Even though he gets graved, he's going to die when the grave ends to that Maledict, and then saving that X Ghost Ship Torrent for a much bigger kill. The Dragon Knight doesn't have a BKB, has the Blink Dagger. If he gets caught in that, the damage was there to bring him down, even if it was only just barely.
Oh, Inflame going for a big boy play.
Not in time.
Not in time.
That's a tough fight. Fighting into the vision.
Finds another big boy kind of a play here. Grab on for maybe a pullback. They're pursuing like they want to finish this one off after they pull him back with the X. Okay, but not going to get it on the other side. Torrent connects on for Afu. No finish there either. Lots of flirting here. Lots of footsie, but Jack, no hard groping. Okay.
I'm gonna leave that for Monet, as his name goes.
That's right. He's the creeper.
He's not at that point, you know. He needs a bit more time. He needs to get to that point before he can really start touching people up.
All of his wetness.
Context here is of course Monet in Chinese can be they've called it Monai, which is grope nipples, but let's not go too far.
You say, I like how you throw nipples just casually. Like
that was
Monet,
part of
which means grope nipples. And
that was part of the story the first time you told it, Jack.
Yeah.
You add a little more every time we get you to retell these little snippets.
Grope nipples, babies. I don't know. Pudding. It's a weird thing that they got going on. Thanks for the giggles.
Jeez. Well, what comes next? LGD with Aegis get a lot of protection on their Medusa. It's definitely troubling. Top lane, it's
this seems all too easy, but they'll go for it regardless. Maybe he's kind of slithering into town a bit with the Stone Gaze, and suddenly this gank has been thwarted. The boat not going to find his biggest target, but maybe a little bit of rum's going to find its way around the table. Regardless, they get the takedown of Afu. A heavy rotation power unit from LGD. That Drow was kind of too good to be true.
Drow gets X'd, so he doesn't even have to, like, he TP's home, but he gets healed up. He buys himself some salves, so he can actually maintain a push with his team. Problem is, bottom lane was also being split pushed in by a Morphling, so while Drow thought they could use this to push top with an Aegis, Medusa's like, well, there's two lanes we got to address. And Medusa, as a result, is not going to be a part of any kind of a push in the top lane, so LGD change course as they go back into farm mode.
Yes, we farm their side, so they don't get to farm that. And they'll waltz themselves all the way out from here. Still have Chronos, still have the big boy skills to work with here, and Afu just happens to be strutting him stuff down the lane. Oh, he's nervous, though.
Here come LFY smoked up. They saw the Witch Doctor mid, so they know at top there's at least no Witch Doctor. They're also waiting for Lasso to come back up, which is 5 seconds away.
They gotta kill it quick. They gotta kill it quick. LFY's coming in from behind. There's the jump in. There's the stun. They're making the move for Drow. A followed Lasso is also going to be there, and they bail out Afu with the Grave. It looks like it's going to be this time LFY who get the jump in.
Ooh. Void barely gets out of there at the last second with the TP. But yeah, Drow going down. That's the big kill. Void could not get a Chrono off while silenced, and just good crippling fear usage coming out from Afu.
Good heads up to kind of go in there, find the Drow target, and put all of your focus onto that, and entrust DDC to be able to bail out Afu there. And they're going to be rewarded with the top lane back again, and all of that farm that comes along with it.
Super's going for that, I believe you mentioned it, Dakota, or Gods, the fairly standard build that we're seeing from a lot of DKs, just drums blinking to BKB, just gives them a lot of stats, front line, can siege buildings, just pretty standard build here, so I'm not sure if they'll try to be more aggressive, but again, it feels like the clock is ticking. It feels like right now LGD with a Drow able to get the lanes out very quickly, able to start threatening towers, and then you have to be careful. If you want to 5-man into them, it's not the easiest thing. The positioning is a big issue, and it gets harder and harder as some of those heroes begin to fall off. Their damage output is no longer significant.
Here they come, man. Suddenly just going into high ground right now. Maybe he's trying to flex the remaining bits of this Aegis if possible. Fluid Flame almost jukes himself forward into that Torrent. Back. Okay, grab, pull back, boat's there. They hit him with a Maldic. The jump in from 11. Stone Gaze now committed for maybe. No hard commitment of the Chrono yet. He does pop it now and gets the grab down with the ward onto Super. Super is going to have to back up a bit, and now a buyback is going to get forced from Inflame. Afu creeping in outside now. Inflame returns from the dead.
Down.
Trying to chase in. Aegis had been expired, so maybe he's going to be gone for good. They get the Yao commitment with the lasso, and they should be able to bring him down. Oh, they can't even get Victoria out. They will be able to finish him off with the help of the adaptive strike. 3 get dropped from LGD. Unfortunate timing is mentioned, and LFY will defend with a buyback that was necessary.
They actually kind of like stopped hitting the Medusa for a couple seconds, it looked like, knowing that the Aegis was going to expire and that they could kill her a whole lot easier without the Aegis rather than try and kill her twice, which would have maybe been a bit problematic, as LGD could have tried to bring the fight back into them. Medusa will respawn for the high ground defense, but some damage has been dealt. The tier 2 goes down, some big kills picked up for LFY, a fantastic hold for them. LGD just kind of pushing their luck a bit too much, going for the high ground with such a small timing window on that Aegis.
And now LFY can step off and reap in the benefits from it. LGD, how many more of those do you think they can get away with? Or do you think having the Medusa allows them to have a kind of a, you know, never-ending approach to the game? I mean, Drow kind of can cap off at the end with maybe a bit of her damage potential, or do you think that with the Medusa kicker, their late game can just continue to scale?
Both teams kind of have this, on paper, super scary late game carry, the Morphling for LFY, the Medusa for LGD. I think then you kind of look to like the team fight, the initiation aspect, where there's a Void and a Batrider. Batrider has that single target pick-off. Void has single target pick-off, but also big team fight potential. So perhaps I'd give LGD the edge as this game goes late. And also 11 is itemizing, such that he's going to be more of a carry rather than just a chrono machine. So he can actually dish out damage himself, which to me is important because Medusa isn't going to be able to deal with the Morphling. I don't think either carry deals with the other very well. Medusa because she's so tanky, Morphling because he's mobile. So it's going to be more upon the Void, maybe even the Drow with the Gust to actually kill off the Morphling. So the Void's build is definitely kind of gearing up to go super late game and have an answer to Monet's hero.
And it feels like LFY's, as you mentioned there with the lineup and the hero, it feels like their strong point is almost directly countered a bit by LGD. Like they don't have great split push, and in terms of late game scaling, I mean there is some of it there, but it feels like they really want to be taking these objectives early, and then they kind of can't do that into LGD's lineup.
Just came up a bit short there.
Yeah, they almost got them all. Would have been a tough kill. Depends if they get the Gust before the Morph Strength, I imagine. Perhaps with Maledict they could kill him even if he is Morphing Strength, but LGD, well positioned around this bottom lane, will take a free tier 2 tower.
And it does look like LFY even recognized where LGD currently are and thinking about stalking that area a bit. Certainly Inflame is curious.
11 doing some scouting is going to perhaps want to back off given that it is nighttime right now.
And it looks like they'll run all the way out the other side here.
Another smoke coming out from LGD. They go for another round. This seems like an odd smoke given that there's only 3 heroes in it. And the 2 initiators are not in the smoke. I don't know if that was the call, but they are worried about Roshan and headed that way.
Yeah, already inside the pit's going to be LFY here. Are LGD going to be able to make it over for any sort of answer? They continue to ping around this ancient camp a bit. What are they doing?
They think the LFY, they're trying to stay on the high ground for LFY to smoke into them. They just, I guess they don't realize Roche is going on because it's picked up uncontested. It's so hard to move out during night. You lose all your vision. Night Stalker even popped the darkness, so there's even less vision because those wards give such a small radius during the darkness, and that is the cause of uncertainty for LGD.
They're going to have to just deal with it as it is for now, it would appear. They still have Medusa swinging it out in terms of net worth with the Morphling, just a couple of hundred away. Nothing too terrible there. Lincoln's Manta done. Agnum's queued up there, Jack. So
there it is.
There it is. Your Mystic Stoner Snake.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen it personally. I'm super curious what it looks like, what it does, and if it even works well.
Well, so if it's like a big team fight, let's say LFY wants to group together a deathball push, it stuns more per bounce. So potentially 2.5 seconds stun in the final bounce.
Oh, I don't know about that chrono.
He was looking for the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
He wanted the 2-man, but slightly missed. Probably should have just gone for Arthur alone.
They group together for team fight. The Mystic Snake bounces and will stone form every enemy hero that it hits with increasing duration. And so it functions as basically a consistent source of disable. And the Medusa already going for this kind of like, it's very difficult to kill her, especially for a Morphling where a lot of your early damage is going to come from nukes.
Oh!
11 on the other hand.
Get wrecked, nerd!
Not ready for that.
Monet just blasted the hell out of him. Nice
People don't
catch
play
right
against
there.
the Morph much these days. You kind of maybe forget just how
Yeah.
much burst damage he can dish out in no time at all. As that is going to be a cause for concern as this game moves on.
All right, now it's going to be Super in Dragon form, happy to siege away onto the Tier 3. We look to LGD to see what their defensive response is going to be on this one. They continue to have Victoria, it looks like, pushing through that top lane here. While on the other side, Monet splitting things out a little bit, but looks like the sun has come out, and LFY are not about that Daywalker life.
Yep. It's good they hold the darkness for when this does happen, so if a fight does suddenly break out, they can still use their vision advantage. And they've also set themselves up with good, aggressive dire wards while it's been nighttime and while they've had the map control advantage. Double halberds from Dire's side. You can't kill the Medusa? Well, who cares, because we're buying halberds, assuming Arfu does commit to buying his as well. This is one of the items which I think Medusa really struggles against. We'll have the Lincoln Sphere kind of to block it every now and then, but there's going to be double halberds. There's a DK Dragon Tail stun, which is a 9-second cooldown. There's so many annoying things for Medusa to deal with. So the general game plan is very much just throw these halberds, stuns at Medusa, and then kill the heroes like the Void with the burst damage. The Drow Ranger is probably the actual key target because she's the one that not just dishes out damage, but gives the whole team a lot of damage.
Here comes our smoke rotation and our possible halberd debut. An early weave comes out, and if they're to clash into a fight, they could be at a serious peak of power. Hey, there's the darkness, there's the move in. Super's able to get the catch, it's on to Maybe. The blast is also able to come out, the follow-up from Inflame as he's able to get the lasso grab onto the Kunkka. Maybe still holding on, but eventually will be brought down. There goes the torrent cut, but man, LGD are on the run back.
Nice
it's a
chrono.
good chrono from 11 to defensively fend them off. Will it be good enough? Super gonna get hit and connected with the torrent, but not any significant damage really coming out. Maybe back in the action right now. There's gonna be the Stone Gaze. Can he cut him off from the front here? They're gonna end up losing 11, it would look like. Super, he is just soaking up all the damage. They're even gonna hit him with a Force Staff. The X should bring him back in, but there is no additional damage there, and even Maybe forced back and to tag the Shrine. Nice grave save comes in from Afu, but Afu actually ends up going down. Good grave temporarily from DDC. A retreat though from LFY. This seems to be the end of their offensive push.
Yeah. Great fight. Good initiation. They get Maybe. They break his Lincolns nice and fast to bring him down. And then it's all over from there. The Chrono Sphere from the Void, as beautiful as it is to see that 4-man Chrono with all those heroes right around the edge of it, had 0 damage being put into it and really just cut their losses. But Medusa's buying back. Realistically, you want to try and use that Chrono with the buyback to get some kills. So LGD only get the Night Stalker at the end of the day, and it is a big, big win for LFY. We'll have their Aegis expire now, though. Perhaps what they were looking to do was take a successful fight that allowed them to take a lane of Rax, but not the case off of that Aegis. Ame top, almost solo killed, may still be solo killed.
Oh, yes he will. Good grab there from Monet. And that might kind of dictate as far as where this game is going. Morph able to kind of get the grab onto the Drow alone means that Drow's side pushing options are not going to be as easy to do. Oh, in bottom lane, it's not going any better here for LGD. Grab and finish assassination of L11. It's a bit of a slideshow, but I saw it in there somewhere.
Nice. Again, like LFY's play, I just think their execution has been pretty on point. It's generally better than LGD's, I'd say, this series. Like, managing ganks on opposite sides of the map there, punishing LGD for being kind of out of position and not ready to fight. The initiation has been really good from them, forcing that Maybe buyback. Like, they've kind of met the objectives they need to take on this lineup and play this game, and it's been great to watch.
Well, to the high ground they go. Drow is back online, but Tier 3 tower taking decent damage already.
Bam, it's gone just like that. They get the X pull back onto Super, but if it's anything like the last push attempt here, there's not really any decent damage coming out from LGD to punish him for it, but Monet takes a good set of shots. The Chrono's going to be there. They begin to unload, but it's not doing anything, man. This Morphling is just holding on strong. He'll get his own Ghost out and then just slowly walk out from trouble. Then they settle for Super instead, and even he is just eating all the damage between 4 different units. Finally will end up going down. They'll truck on, trying to get a hold of Afu. Afu tries to fly up to the balcony, goes for the TP, but they are going to be able to get the finish.
Much better fight and hold from LGD. Do lose their Tier 3 tower, but just getting the necessary Chrono and initiations off, bringing the Morph back in, and that kind of forces LFY's hand to go in there and help him out because he had already used the waveform despite being X'd. That waveform escape gets pulled back in, and suddenly it's LGD pushing out the lanes once again.
Much of a commitment are they looking to do down this mid lane here?
There's no buybacks. It could do some serious damage here. Perhaps taking a tower could open up some shrines.
30 seconds, no Super. There goes the weave. 11 trying to maybe get close for the dilation there. Does find connection onto Inflame to try to slow down the sticky spread. But I think that might conclude all the offense that LGD can go for. So LFY begin to chase, but have they been baited in? Inflame has.
That Drow's just like, you really just gonna run in? Let me right click you? He used the Shadow Blade very well there. The bat does not see him. Kind of turning around to fight once more and gets overly aggressive.
Jumping from Super. This forces a quick buyback from Inflame coming to that shrine, and they're going to take out the Faceless Void, and Roche is up, so they go in, knowing that the Chrono is not going to be there.
Yeah, good buyback, knowing Roche is going to be up and wanting to secure the fight. Void's item build, as much as I think it's good that he's going for this more Lake Marine carry build, it's slowed down. He hasn't picked up any items since the Shadow Blade, and more important than that is he has nothing to get out of Silence. I feel like that's the 3rd or 4th time he's either died or just couldn't get off a good Chrono usage or a Time Walk because of the Silence, and not having a Manta, BKB, some tool to get out has really been costly for 11's Void. Either need to prioritize it over the Shadow Blade, or you just need to spend more time farming to get to it.
Now we have more time granted for LFY to be able to step off and farm up. Some items here they could pick up that could make closing this game out just that much easier here, including the AC onto Super, and that's Scotty on Monet. He seems hard enough to take down as it is. When he gets the Scotty done, I just don't even know for LGD. Has Drow picked up something new that she was able to dish out that have a bit of damage? Doesn't seem so. Looking to finish out the Silver Edge, it would appear.
Just got the Shadow Blade was like the recent pickup after the SMY BKB. Silver Edge will take away some of Dragon Knight's armor with the Dragon Blood. Will also reduce Morphling's damage output, which is kind of nice if you want to start a fight with a Silver Edge onto him and you're expecting him to like turn around an E-Blade.
Yeah, outside of that, it's like, can we get ourselves to late here for this Medusa MKB, let's say? I don't know, though. They scurry on back indoors here because LFY's a-coming. And that pesky Afu has an Invis rune as he stalks things out outside the front door. Yeah, but LFY know how they can play this game. They're winning. They have control of the map. They're farming most of the map. And no, LGD can't do that. And might just end up starving them out a little bit here. They have time to work with because that Aegis is pretty damn fresh. Okay, here comes a rollout from LGD, though. Taking it to LFY, maybe trying to catch him on the back end of the Shrine takedown when they might be a bit laxed. Monet is the closest target right now, but you have to work through that Lincolns and a Dazzle nearby.
Yeah, it's trying to take advantage of the daytime, but unable to find any heroes that are easy kills. A DK or a Nightstalker, I mean, they're not easy kills, but if you get a Chrono on them, you may be able to dish out enough damage before they, like, BKB on Dragon Knight. The Nightstalker is a great kill to get as well. especially if you can kill him before he pops his darkness. But LGD will be unsuccessful. They quickly realize they fall back, want to play the lane equilibrium game and see where things go from there. They probably realize they may be forced into a high ground defense scenario at some point in the next couple minutes with Aegis Cheese over on the LFY side.
It's such a good set of tools they have too to be able to make that siege possible with the assistance of the Bat Rider and the vision that comes with the next nighttime or even darkness or whatever. LFY, I don't want to say have this one in the bag, but as long as they can coast this one forward and go through those kind of check boxes, it's just going to be super, super tough for LGD to be able to pull back from.
Just controlling the map better. The vision game has prevented the Drow from being able to farm. We see a serious drop-off in her net worth compared to the dire carries. Even Medusa has felt scared, and we're seeing a lot of kind of timid play from Maybe, not really willing to push out lanes or go for farm on the map because the pick-up potential for Bat, Night Stalker, Dragon Knight, even the Morphling with his Ethereal Blade is a serious worry for Medusa. Linken's will block one spell, but it won't block anything beyond that. From here, we'll see where LGD go, and I think the answer is more or less nowhere outside of their base. The high ground is where they will be at their strongest, at least while LFY have an Aegis.
Yep. Lock the doors, barricade the windows, do what you can, LGD, to try to survive, but here comes trouble. LFY beginning to roll in as the darkness is out.
This is Team LGD, like LGD come high ground, as they're known. Obviously, that way back in the day, most teams don't play like that now, but it is going to be a bit of a short cracking this high ground, and we'll see if they can defend it.
You pop my Lincolns, I'll pop yours. And Monet says, I'm just going to go for your Rex, thanks. Hits that one right away. Now the Medusa caught with the lasso, but there's going to be the pullback. Manta going to be popped, and Medusa commits him with the Stone Gaze. While on the other side, some good damage onto that tier 3. Not enough to get the takedown, but LFY swoop in, get what they need, go right back out.
Victoria, well, maybe not keeping them in the game, but preventing Maybe from having to use buyback there, because if that X doesn't come out, he is almost certainly dead and forced to buy back.
I don't know what LGD can really do with this window of time before LFY can kind of do what we saw already as far as just being able to take over the map and make another push down forward.
11 spotted by a Sentry Ward, Shadowblading around. The Aegis has expired. It is about to be nighttime though, and that is perhaps some solace for LFY, who will no longer get to play with the Aegis. They've also got a gem up on Bat, so they're dewarding most of the map. Radiant Vision is being heavily restricted right now. It's definitely a point in the game where it doesn't really matter what your late game heroes in teamfight look like if you're in LGD shoes. If you can't see anything on the map, you're always playing scared. You're not able to progress and get any additional farm. Your opponents, meanwhile, can pick and choose their fights and make sure they guarantee a good initiation, or they can just out-farm you through sheer map vision, which is, we've seen LFY do a combination of the two. Just control the map better and farm up the Morphling and the DK, and also just pick and choose fights with the vision plus Bat Rider initiation.
And here they come. All the way through and down this mid lane here. LGD. Going to be a bit in the dark on this one, as the smoke is also there. Where is the jump going to be coming from? Is it going to be on Medusa once again? And can Victoria get the X in the save? Yes. Quick break of the lasso is good. They survive round 1.
I think LFY may need to come up with a new game plan for breaking the high ground other than this break Lincoln's lasso Medusa strat. It's they're not getting punished for it. Nor really can they easily, but at the same time they're not really coming close to killing Medusa.
Medusa just walks outside. Super's happy to oblige with a jump in Dragon Tail, and that will prompt the boat. Now they traded out a bit. That was a Stone Gaze? No, that was just a Mystic Snake. Okay, I see it now.
There's a Ghost Ship committed, but that's a fairly low cooldown. Will be at least one creep wave without it. Ping's going down to the side lanes.
1 second, lasso. Why don't we try it again? He might be looking for someone else instead. This time he actually grabs up the Faceless Void just after he commits him with the Chrono, but a Stone Gaze does come out, and the multi-shotting does begin for Maybe, but is it going to be any sort of damage at all? As Super's brought low, he's able to snag up the cheese. pulling back in for another torrent, but these guys are just too big and bad. Glyph is forced. LFY reposition.
Bottom lane, Morphling, it looks like, took out the tier 3 tower, started to work on the melee barracks before being pushed back. Some nice split push from him.
Pull back onto Afu. He gets the force on forward, though. There's the silence, but it's a helpful E-Blade coming out from Monet. Nothing coming easy here for LGD at all.
They don't have damage right now. The Drow is probably their best right-click damage. This Medusa is mostly doing Mystic Snake damage. She needs this MKB desperately because the evasion on multiple heroes as well as the crippling fear on her is just ruining any chance of right-clicking anyone down.
Look like one of their better setups they could ask for too, with Medusa being able to just kind of dish out so much damage into the Chrono, but yeah, without that kind of firepower, it just doesn't seem to be very effective. And plus, LFY, whenever they make these kind of approaches, are usually coming carrying Aegises, carrying cheeses, and that means you have to only fight through multiple lives.
Yep. She does get up to the MKB now, though, so we'll see at least some damage output from her. Question is, will there be reliable damage from other sources? The Void is still just so poor. 11 was in such a promising position like 20 minutes ago. I feel like he had Vlad's Shadow Blade 20 minutes ago, and that was when it looked like he was really going to be able to scale well into the late game, deal with the Morphling, but a few deaths from that Ethereal Blade and just some unsuccessful teamfights, he's been set back.
Inflame crosses paths with Baby, pops his Lincoln, hits him with the lasso. Victoria tries to move in, and they force LFY to scamper off. But Inflame is, you know, still hanging around, still curious.
Now we're looking level 25s. Morphling gets his extra waveform range. DK not quite there for his.
MKB is up on maybe, so kind of feeling the pressure to add some more damage himself. The scaling hasn't gone as planned with the complete loss of map control for the Drow, and as you mentioned, for the Faceless Void.
Waiting for the next Roshan is LFY. Perhaps feeling that may be the one. Feels like LFY had been like all in on this, like kind of grouped up down the mid lane. It wasn't until like just recently where we saw the Morphling do some split push bottom, but it seems to me if they really want to, Morphling can actually just split push this game to victory. Like send 3-4 heroes mid, Morphling goes top, gets a Rax or goes bottom. But before we get to that point, Aegis is the target for both teams.
Running in for DDC, they commit in the Chrono, but a nice E-Blade onto 11 prevents him from doing any sort of right-click. Maybe now with a Stone Gaze, actually gets a good catch on the Super, but the Grave is going to be there. They'll try to get the finish on the back end of it, and they will get that. Afu also in a bit of trouble, but here comes the rest of the gang, including Monet, the big bad boss man. Has already taken down 2, and will be able to get a hold of Maybe on top of it, making it a triple kill. Ame, BKBTP, and looks like he's back home.
Almost certainly going to force out a Medusa buyback following this, and this could be it for LGD. They're limited on heroes to defend their base at this point.
Bump back, and Victoria, though he's able to get the Lotus Orb off and remove the slow, making him sweat for it a bit, but ultimately we'll get the takedown. And there it is, the buyback coming out from Maybe, and what could be possibly the beginning of the end for him. And LFY starting their run back, leading into this series 0-2, winning 2 games, and now we're going to be going into a Game 5 grand final possibly. Very likely, it looks like, with 2 sets of Raxes going down, LFY are making their way to the Megas.
Yep. Small thing is mobility, and the way they've dealt with this Medusa has been impressive.
Grab for her. She gets it out of the way. The lasso been made for Amy as he tries to run up and above. Nah, he's shredded. He's gone. 80 seconds. No buyback there. Looks like they have done an LFY to secure themselves into a Game 5. Playing it just as safe as ever, though.
Fall back for Roshan, I guess. Drow is dead. They don't know the Drow has no buyback, which is perhaps why they're inclined to go for Roshan. Rather than put yourself in a push that you could get Chrono, Drow buys back, die, then your opponents get Roshan. They're going to...
Here we go. I like this. LGD just say, let's go. Never mind.
No, they're trapped. Uh-oh.
Okay, well, at least we may end the game sooner. Maybe he just says, I'm going to hit the R button and pray for the best, boys. Stonegaze is out. He tries to right-click a little bit of something here and there. There goes the Chrono. Some of his team's in it, some of them are not.
Not a bad
Multi-shots are coming out. It's okay, but then eventually they hog-tie up the old lady. And they put it down. Good game. We're going to a Game 5 Grand Final.
LFY pulling it back. What an impressive 2 games that they played. I think they've just shown themselves to be more consistent generally, like throughout this whole tournament the last few weeks, and they're really showing it here. Like the way they handled LGD yesterday and the way they've come back in these last 2 games. They've just played so well. Like their game plan, execution, it's always there for them. And what an impressive showing once again for LFY.
Yeah, they continue to get out-drafted, I would say. Most of us would say, but
I think games 1 through 3 to me clear out draft. This one, like I felt out-drafted towards the start, less maybe towards the end of the game convinced because of what happened, like how they were actually able to pressure the Drowse lane. This game maybe wasn't as much of an out-draft, but definitely the first 3 games it felt like LGD on draft.
I don't think we were expecting the Drow to have like a great time and just be able to do whatever she wanted. But in terms of, for example, the Faceless Void, we expected him to get a good amount and be more of a presence. But he seemed pretty invisible for that mid game, not because of the Shadow Blade either. Yeah.
He really struggled this game to find good initiation. I mean, it kind of capped off at the end. He got a Dazzle, which is maybe a good hero to actually Chrono in those late games to start Graves, but he did 0 damage to that Dazzle. So it was a rough game for him to play once these heroes got farmed, because both Morphling, DK, very tanky, very hard to kill. Monet plays a perfect game, 14-0 and 5. It was great to see the old slippery Waterman make its return. You know,
I don't know. I mean, is it in meta? We'll have to see. If it maybe comes out Game 5 and gets scores of another win, maybe some people are watching and going, Morphling again, huh?
Find the right game, the right draft. You know your opponents have a slower pace farming hero like Medusa. It could have been a fast-paced game if Drow has a good time. I think that's the key thing. They realize if this Drow actually gets all her item timings really early on, they're going to push a lot of early towers, and Morphling is useless. Like that's a game where you do not want to have Morphling. A Drow, 15, 20-minute push game, your Morphling is a horrible pick, but because Drow gets pressured as much as she did, the pick really works fantastic.
And there was a point where it looked kind of dangerous for them, because I recall that the basically LGD were pushing was a high ground into tier 3 at some point, and like they had all the heroes there, and so that started to look like the kind of nightmare scenario that you were talking about for LFY. But ultimately they managed to stick to it, really just seize map control and play very well with that map control for like the next 20 or 30 minutes of the game.
Damn, look at my boy DDC. 0 kills, 0 deaths, but 17 assists.
That's the dream for a defensive support 5.
Yeah, you're just
and for the one position to not die as well, right? So
yeah. No. Sick game from LFY. They earned that win, and they have earned a Game 5 Grand Final. So we're excited. We're looking forward to it. We're going to cut to a break, freshen up a bit, and get ready for the last game of MDL. We'll see you soon for it.